past this point. Me and my family, we have done all that we can do in our power to help you at this moment. And now we have to make sure, and I have to make sure that I'm protecting our peace, our mental health, and our safety here. You know, and it was tough, right? You know, because I had to be very direct, you know, with it, and I felt like it was so funny we talked about this because I was just talking to somebody about this, that I felt even today, I'm just gonna be honest and real, you know, right now today I still feel guilty. I feel guilty, you know, that that I couldn't keep her here, you know, with us, that I couldn't help her move from this point of wellness, healthy wellness, from A to Z, just enough to be stable enough to maintain here, to help her, you know, maintain a relationship with her children, to help her, you know. And so and to this day, you know, I have to continually remind myself that I did everything I could in my power without risking or hurting my own mental health or the well-being and emotional health of my family, my husband, and my boys. Because working and living with mental health with someone who's seriously mentally ill, I'm not talking about when people say, oh, I'm just having a little bit of anxiety or a little bit of depression, but when you have some serious things where you just can't shake and change and going to a therapy session doesn't necessarily help. Or if you're not going to therapy to get the treatment, you're not getting the help at all. And, you know, it was at that point where I had to protect, you know, myself. The thing that I always talked about with boundaries and with other moms, I had to become that hot mom Sheema for me.
Hey, you know, Yasheema, I love it. I love the fact that you're talking about the theory and reality sometimes are so different, right? When we're the teacher, when we're the teacher, we can tell it. But when life makes us the student in our own lessons, can we apply it? Can we apply it, right? And the emotions that comes with it, you know, I can't help but wonder what this experience has done for you in terms of now that, you know, you've had to walk the path, now that you have a richer understanding, you know, what are some things that you saw of yourself in the process that made you see how strong you are? And what are some things that made you question yourself?
Oh, yeah. Some things that made me question myself?
Yes. Both. So it's some things that made you realize you were stronger than you thought, and some things that made you question yourself.
Going through that process, it made me realize I was stronger than I thought when I had to remove myself from the situation, my emotions, my relationship. And with that person, I had to, you know, really be, this is the best word for it, selfish.
That word.
I had to be selfish, Dr. Max.
Or was it
selfish with myself?
Is it selfish though, Yasheema, or was it that you had to realize that self-care needed to show up, right? Because lots of times when we're doing things for ourselves, we label it selfish, and it really is not. It is not selfish to not drown.
Yes, it's not.
It is self-care to take yourself to the shore so you can at least guide them to the shore too.
Yes, and so I had to do that. And that's what I had to, and I had to come into my mind. And that took a little bit of self-strength, of saying that, this is what I have in a situation where I had not been used to, just to not just self-care, but not putting someone's needs above mine. At that moment, I had to really realize that I'm going to have to put my needs ahead of her and what she needs. And then I'm going to have to live with that decision and choice. That's just what it is. And so that's what it was. I don't know if I was ready to live with the what if. The what if after she left here with me. What if because of what I couldn't do, the what if. And I think sometimes we get into that. We're not strong enough to think about the what if with them. We're not strong enough to just let that be. Because at the essence of it, I really can't control the what if after, something happens or with that person's life. I'm not that much in control of that anyway. Right. So, I had to make sure, and it made me realize that I came the year, it was the year of Shema. Out of that experience came the year of Shema. And and it's laughing, I say this, like, what does that mean? That just meant that this year that was coming up, that I was going to focus on Shema, self-care. What did that mean? All the things that Shema had been putting on the back burner, all the things that Shema has said, oh, I'll do that next week. All the things that Shema had wanted to do and just hadn't done it because I was doing this with other people and I'm helping you do this. All those things, it's now the year of Shema. What does Shema need? How I'm going to make sure that I'm showing up for Shema, like I'm showing up for everybody else.
So it sounds, Yasheema, that one of the things that you found out about yourself is that though you were talking and teaching the concept of boundaries and self-care, you weren't really practicing it.
Yes. And I wasn't practicing it as good as I thought I was. I was like, ooh, I had to wake up. I woke myself up like, wait a minute. And in the process, I was doing, sometimes we can get caught with the self-care. That's why sometimes people will help they hate the word self-care and all that, right? Because sometimes we can get caught up in all the things that are the simple self-care, right? Oh, the manicure, the pedicure, the massage, those little tangible things. And we don't think about some of the things that we're doing that's sabotaging our self-care, like not taking care of our health, not taking care of our emotional and mental health, not doing those things that we are truly passionate and that our dreams are, and we're not following them and we're not going after them, and so that part is self-care too, or sometimes being selfish. And I hate to say that.
You saw my eyebrow, right? You saw my eyebrow.
But like, let me say when I say selfish too, because you know what? The reason why I say it too, Dr. Max, because people like to call us selfish when we're doing it. And I like to say I'm not being selfish. I'm being selfish. You're right. Because I'm doing a little more ish for myself.
That's right. I love it. Say it again. I'm doing a little bit more ish. For myself. I love it.
And so I was supposed to explain it to you earlier. But so that's what my selfish means. You're like, yeah, I want to say to people, sometimes when people say that to them, especially as moms, when you have husbands, whatever, oh, you want to go out and hang out with your girlfriends, you're being selfish. Or you want to go, you need time for yourself and you're a mom, you're being selfish. And sometimes I want to say to moms and women, sometimes you can say, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
I am.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with it either. And people think that, you feel like it's something so negative, and it's not. You're right. Today, I am being selfish because I'm worried about myself.
And I'm doing more ish for myself. You're going to hear me saying that, Yasheema. I love it. I love it. So as you look back on this journey of the experience with your sister, and your sister is still here, so the journey continues. You're just learning to be stronger in the process. And as I was listening to you, I thought, sometimes when we make decisions, we think that we're only thinking of ourselves, but in the releasing of her to go and get the care that you couldn't give, that decision also frees her to get a better care because you weren't able to do that for her.
Right.
You know, so this also, it on the surface may sound like you abandoned her, but no, what is detrimental to her is to keep her in an environment where you couldn't have helped her.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. That's right. Yeah. And I had to realize that and still and realize that, I mean, sometimes we just think that we're the only ones sometimes who can fix something, who can help someone with something. And it's so funny, I laugh at people all the time when they say that, like, oh, so if you go on vacation, your job is just gonna shut down. Is that what you're telling me what's gonna happen? So when you leave and go on vacation, all the doors are gonna lock, all the cases are gonna stop flowing. So you can't take vacation because your job is gonna shut down because you're gone. No, it's gonna keep moving as if you were not there, like a well-oiled machine. So you have to learn how to take care of yourself. You know, you gotta focus on that. You know, and be true to yourself. You know, sometimes you think that, like we said, being a teacher, you know, you think that you're the teacher and you're smart, you know, and you are smart, but you're the teacher. What you're teaching, and you think you can outsmart yourself. It's funny. Like, so you can teach this, right? But you're gonna think that you don't have to do some of it too.
Yes, until life calls you into its classroom and says, now you do the lesson.
Now you do the lesson. And so, and that was just really good, and to realize it. And because that brought a reality to me, a real slap in the face. Was like, because I don't think that I realized that, though. You know, I don't think I realized that I wasn't engaging in, I wasn't taking care of myself as good as I thought I was, right? And so that really had to come to a full head for me, and was a reality check, like, oh, I gotta do better. I must do better for myself.
I love it. I love it. And for the others around you, right? Because you're pouring from inside of you. So if you had to think now, Yasheema, of another woman, a sister struggling with this, what are some tips that you would give her to say, these are the things that worked best for me, that helped me to get through this when I had to pull on that extra? I'd like to leave these with you so that you can use them too to help you to get through your journey. What would those tips be?
Well, really good ones. I really leaned on my support system. I always encourage us. I know we're strong women, and we can handle what we can handle, you know, but in the process of things, we have to know when to reach out for that support system, that lifeline, you know, sometimes, and not sitting on our beds and on our couch and knowing that we're in pain and we're suffering, yet still don't reach out. And so I really had to pull on my husband, and because he was my big support system, and you know, and my father. And it was so funny, it was two men, right? And it's like, what you all know about this? But they were able, you know, to kind of to keep me centered, to let me know and remind me that you're doing the best you can, but don't go so far as detriment to yourself. So they had to keep me thinking, keeping that in the back of my mind and thinking about that. So that was good. Making sure you're reaching out for the lifeline and support system. You know, making sure that if you have some practices like prayer, meditation, you know, make sure you're engaging in those. You know, don't forget about them. You know, when you get to struggling and things, you're going through things, I don't want to pray. I don't want to meditate. Nope. That is these times like this are the perfect time to be able to sit down with that, because if you don't, you know, you won't be centered. You know, you will be all over the place for a longer period of time. You won't be able to have those conversations with yourself. Okay, what am I really